don't wanna sleep in, cause I got something to prove. I gotta take what I hate and finally make a move.
What up, what up, what up? It is Betting the Board. I'm your boy, Mikey Money. I got Mac Daddy up in this piece with me to break down some college basketball with you.
Peace.
For the Saturday. It's a big Saturday, C-Mac. Only a couple of big Saturdays left. Dare I say 3. But this one has about 20 games on the board. We're going to go by rotation number because... listen, our sweet, sweet kitten wants to go by rotation number, so we will do that.
Yeah. Well, we could bounce. We could go by time conference. I just didn't know if you want to go back and forth. We could do the time. Whatever floats your boat, Mikey. Run it.
Right.
If you're going to timestamp it, run it.
I'm timestamping, baby, but here's the question I got for you. Ole Miss, WTF. Mm-hmm. Nebraska, WTF. And those are kind of the two. Well, how about the hook last night by New Mexico, baby? Yeah, let's go. What were some of the big surprises for you so far this week?
There were a few. Well, what I'm mad at, my bets, Georgetown should have been on the under there. I mean, they basically covered that whole game, too, at 15.5. And I thought that might happen, but I thought they'd hang nasty in that game. Yeah, Purdue, we'll see. I like this Purdue team, but I think UCLA, I'm worried about them on the road. But I think Nebraska's just fading. I don't think it's, I had the under in the game. I think of the game today is the under. Yeah, Ole Miss, I love it. I've been on the last couple of days. One thing I had the over, that was the other horrible beat I thought, was, 48-41 at half. Ole Miss hits a 3. They get to 78 or 79 points, Mike. They score one more point and win the game by 1. They scored 1 point in the last 350. And Alabama came, hit a 3, made a couple shots, made it kind of close. But if they just take a bucket or two, I couldn't believe it stayed under. So that had me pissed off big time. But the great games today, Kennesaw State, we're going to get to them. I really liked them yesterday. Came through. I think it's a great game. Styles clash a little bit in that one. Team wants to play fast, slower team in La Tech. Duke took care of business, but I'm pumped. Let's just get to the goddamn games. Screw tomorrow. We got new day, new scratch. You know how it rolls. Let's get it going.
I do know how it rolls. And listen, I thought, ironically, a couple games that I had that straight bets on that I really liked and I went pretty good on. Didn't come through, like Florida blowing up for me at the end, but strangely enough, I put together a couple 5-leg parlays just because you get some of those boost and bullshit by the books, and some of those parlays really just weren't they were like my first cuts. I parlayed them together and I cashed 3 of them yesterday, but some of my straight bets didn't get there, so it was a little disappointing, but still a profitable day. So what are we going to say? Let's get into it. Let's talk some Ivy League, C-Mac. It starts at 2 p.m. We're going to go all over the place for you guys here, starting with this Penn Harvard situation, C-Mac. I know you got some Ivy League action. What's brewing? 2 p.m. Eastern start here. You like Penn? You like Harvard?
I take Penn. I don't have a bet in this game. I think these teams are a little bit too similar. Well, I have plenty of bets. I mean, you're throwing them out. I thought you had a bet in this, but we'll rip through the games. We don't have anything. We'll just toss it, or you take off.
Yeah, I'll give you guys this one here. So I'm looking at, you got 60% of the bets, 61% of the cash on the Penn side of things here. No movement. It's still sitting at 2.5, although it's juicing towards the 3. Might see 3s by the time tip-off pops off here. 130.
There are 3s.
There are 3s?
Yeah, there's 3s. Oh, yeah. There's a couple 3.5s. Well, a few stale here. You have to hit Fanatics.
I see the totals moved up a point. So we got 136.5. And I'm going to go to the under. I think I gave you guys the under the last time we were on this show with Penn. Penn unders in the conference when they've got a small spread. 17-2. They've cashed 12 in a row. It's conference play. It matters. It's for the big enchilada. Defense is going to come and show up here in this game. And, kind of historically, we look at overall with these teams, Harvard can go on the road and put up some points, as can Penn, but I think this point in the tournament, this stage in the game, we're getting both. Well, Penn's been just an under machine here, but Harvard,
Yeah, but that numbers are nowhere near this, Mike. That's the only problem. I mean, it's a championship game, and this is more of a Harvard total. And Penn's just been going dead under, so I think the books put this here because their totals are always in the 150s. You know what I mean? High 140s, 157, 154.
Yeah, I agree.
So this is low.
Yeah, these two teams just played. Literally,
Yeah.
it was I think we were talking about this game, and it was 64-61. So a little cruise control to the other. I'm going to go back to it.
All right.
I'm going to go back to it. Nothing fancy, nothing cute for me to kick this thing off here. You want to go to the A10?
Yeah, let's go to it.
Let's talk some A10. See if we can do it again here with Dayton and St. Louis. It was a great, glorious live bet yesterday, man. I didn't like that St. Louis spot. I'll tell you off air. There's a fucking dude that's pretty reputable across the industry who's I can't believe he's got to be a straight fade. And every time, 7.5's the number that he's putting out there again. My boy gets some of his picks, and I'm like, dude, this guy, he's a fade. I can't believe you're still following this guy. But at the same time, the surprise for me was, you see this team comes out, they go down 14, 15 points right off the gate yesterday, the St. Louis team.
Yeah.
And I was able to get a plus 7.5, gave out a plus 7.5 live. Easy peasy, easy J peasy. They come back, they win the game outright by 7. Depending on the 7 or the 7.5, you won, you pushed, or you lost. 4.5s have gone to 5.5. Despite some good cash coming in here on this Dayton Flyer side of things here. Dayton, they handled St. Bonaventure yesterday, but again, they win by 5 on a 6.5. So you got kind of two sloppy cover style teams out there. This is a tricky little game for me. I thought I was making some money on St. Louis under CMAC, but turns out I was full of shit because it seems like every other game they go to the over. And this kind of feels like that same spot, Harvard and Penn. You look at Dayton's an under team, but their numbers are sitting around the mid 140s to high 150s. What do you make of this game?
I know a whole lot of directions on the side and the total, for me in this game. I want unders too. Like yesterday, they were just playing no defense. George Washington, because consistently, even with those high totals, Mikey, like first half, if I get 77, even though it could be a little bit sweaty, I cash on those all the time. You know what I mean? So, and yesterday, I love the early start. I mean, they just got slapped. I mean, what is St. Louis doing? That's one thing. The last, 2 weeks of the year, 4 or 5 games, where's the defense been? That was kind of so good that really made them so good this year and play so well, especially early. Both teams get to the free throw line. They're decent from the line. We know these two teams have shooters, especially St. Louis. And like you said, they're down. They can come rolling back. They shoot the 3 well. So this one is tough. I think Dayton is kind of a scrappy team that could stay in this, but if St. Louis plays that A game, I think they could cover it. This is one I was off. I'd like to be on this under. I can't trust it. There's plenty of unders, I think, today, but not. I can't do it here.
St. Joe's and the Commonwealth of the state of Virginia are going to face off at 3:30 for the other leg of this A10 battle here. Plus 8.5s have come down 2 points to 6.5. 67% of the bets are on the St. Joe side of things, but it's pretty split on the cash. 52% on VCU. If anything, a little bit of an edge there. And the totals. I mean, this total. Talk about unders, man. This thing's come down 7 points from the overnight open. And another spot. I like me some St. Joe's yesterday. I was able to get home with some nice money on them boys against Davidson. They handled their business. They were 2.5 point favorites. They just kicked the snot out of them, and it stayed under. On top of that, 4 unders again. VCU kind of feels like the St. Louis and Penn teams that we were talking about. Under squad. But has this number come down too much in this case here? VCU and St. Joe's. I'd be inclined to take the points with this thing here, man. You got to beat me by 4 buckets to go out there and get the win in this game, C-Mac. What do you think about this one?
I know. Going through the 2 meetings, 9-point loss and a 7-point loss. Just a 7-point loss this year for St. Joe's. The one thing is I want St. Joe's as a dog. They were kind of alone. We talked about in yesterday's show. I just like, 3 or 4 favorites. They were one of them. And to the under, we talked about, still stayed under, even that low total. And that one, they need to come to play here. I think they can. I've been back this St. Joe's team a lot. Do I want to abandon them? I still think they could struggle offensively. I hate in one of these championship games the struggle of the 5-minute no bucket. They shoot 30% from three. They're not even great inside. At VCU, a lot better offensively, and I think they could take it to them. So I lean St. Joe's and under in this game. And you know what? I even thought if the lean, this was one of my big questions here that I might move on. St. Joe's team total under 69.5. I mean, they get to 70, then that maybe they cover there. We'll see with the total. But like I said, they struggled. They need to slow it down. This team doesn't play super, super fast. So I was looking at them, the team total here, even at 69.5 for St. Joe's.
Appreciate everybody rocking with us in the chat. We are underway and we are live on 2 channels here. Of course, the Sports Money Network and Hitting the Books. So make sure you guys get out there and tag the like on both channels if you would kindly do so for us. Like, follow, subscribe, turn your notifications on. You know what it's all about here. We try to give you guys free picks and information to help you make informed betting decisions. We try to do it here every Saturday for you guys with the rest of college basketball. Of course, Mickey Mac Daddy and I go live throughout the week to give you guys our thoughts and opinions on all sports as it relates to making that money. So we appreciate you guys here. Shout out to Drew Scalosa, Nicholas Handy, Neil Clark in the house, Chicago Joe, Fremont Street Dogs, J Dub. Appreciate all you guys tuning in this morning. If you're catching us on the replay, we've got the timestamps up as well, so you can navigate through as we go conference by conference to give you guys the big lowdown on the cashing of the tickets. We're going to go to the Big Ten. Making it Mac Daddy, Wisconsin and Michigan. I'm going to tell you this. I said it before. I stand by it. They've shown it to me. 8.5-point dogs yesterday. They were getting busted up a little bit at halftime. They fought back. I think Wisconsin's one of them teams that we can see dancing in week number 2 of the big dance, if you will, here. 12.5 points now against this Michigan team. 78% of the bets, 83% of the cash on the whiskey side of things here. The totals come down a point. Not entirely surprised by that here. But man, is this too many points now for this Michigan team, or do they just continue to go out there and beat up teams and rinse and repeat? How are you going to play this Wisconsin-Michigan game? I'm inclined. I want to hear your thought process here.
Well, I think the one thing that just catches it is, Winter's still going to be out here, which doesn't help. I mean, yesterday, why it was so good, and they need another effort, is from Boyd and Black. I think they both had over 30 in that game, right, yesterday? I mean, started shooting it crazy, 38-31. They were really, really good. I mean, they're going to need an effort like that again because this Michigan team is stacked. I just worry about Wisconsin. Got them earlier, too. Michigan squeaks by, right? Wisconsin comes roaring back. Is this just like, again? But Wisconsin, we talked about, was a public dog yesterday. I don't think the whole public thing I talk about all the time with college basketball is not that big to me. Like, I think like when you think the NFL, like that matters a little bit more to me in a week long where it sits where these college games just are back and forth. I don't take too much into it, even though we got to look at the money and everything going here. But yeah, 13, 12.5. As good as I think Michigan is, I think Wisconsin, they shoot it from 3. I mean, if they go cold, this could be bad, and they still aren't great defensively. I'd lean over, but we're here at the number. Yesterday was the over. I know it went to OT, but I thought this was just a little bit too high, this number. But I don't know if Wisconsin's going to win you, Mike, a 73-65 type game. I think that's just not in the cards for them. They got to get up and down. So, yeah, this is dangerous. I lean the points here with Wisconsin, but I look out. They've consistently kind of hung in games, with the 3, with enough playmaking. What do you think?
They're going to need to hang in there with the 3 because I don't think they have the size advantage, right? I mean,
exactly. They're beat up. Yeah,
7'10" motherfucker out there. What's his name? Mara. I mean, that dude's a tree. And it just kind of goes down the line. So if their 3 points are on, 52% field goals, 34% of them went in, so half their shots. And that's about the formula that's going to be necessary. And maybe there's enough out there. I was on Ohio State yesterday. I don't like Ohio State as a squad. I didn't think they matched up well, but I thought that number was too big. Does Michigan need to continue to go out there and flood teams, or can they just, at this point in the tournament, do they just go out there in that second half? Maybe they're up 10 points at halftime. We're still seeing a 12.5. And you know why? Because they're sitting there playing their backup players the second half of the second half, because they need to get them battle tested in case something happens when they move on to the big dance, because I'm sure we'll see Michigan be a number one. So biased opinion here, I guess, but I know we've seen the dogs kind of fall off late in the season. Two good teams with a big spread, the favorites covered, but not as of late. We saw, yesterday kind of throws a wrinkle in anybody's game plan when it came to betting favorites. We saw a lot of dogs cashing, covering anyways, not winning outright, but I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to go back to to Wisconsin. 12.5 points. I'm not going to fade off my boys at this point.
Right.
Onward. Let's talk about Purdue and UCLA. Here's another one, man. We talked a little bit, you and I, backstage about Purdue, but UCLA, how about the Michigan State? The entire planet knows Michigan State, and they know the clipboard with Izzo, and does he physically assault his players allegedly? I don't know. We can't talk about any of that stuff, but boy, this UCLA team found a way with Cronin to go out there and dial up some numbers. 5.5 pointers. They ended up winning the game by 6 out there. And now you're going to open them up as they were 8.5 point dogs. They're now 7.5, 76% of the bets, 78% of the cash. Another spot where the totals come down. The Purdue Boilermakers, probably the thing that surprised me the most about this Purdue Boilermakers squad here is, like I said, that game yesterday against Nebraska, Nebraska was never in it. I was off on that game. I was in the Nebraska side of things here. I thought it'd be a basket type of game, and then Purdue went out there and just kicked the snot out of them. So I guess the big question here, you see that Whiskey loss for Purdue. It was 97-93. That's the kind of game Whiskey needs to be in with Michigan if they're going to go out there and get it done. It's got to go to the over. But that being said, UCLA covered 4 straight. They've done nothing but cover since this tournament started. They handled Rutgers with ease, double-digit favorites, easy cover. They handled Michigan State, small dog, easy cover. Do they do it again, C-Mac? Purdue, UCLA. Take us to the pay window.
I think they do. I don't know if they win, but I think they cover. And they already, I know they were at home, but they beat this Purdue team earlier in the year. So this is a little bit revenge for Purdue. They got by Northwestern. They beat Nebraska. We talked about them kind of just falling a little bit towards the end of the year. It's been their offense there. I remember that game early. I had that under. It was a couple points higher, not much. Earlier in the year, it was 147. I took the under. I leaned the under in this game as well. But UCLA have noticed, once they get scoring, and why I like them, as much as Purdue, has Smith and Lawyer, I think UCLA's in it because of their guard play. With, Dead, Clark's back now. He can ball. So I think UCLA with them can be definitely in this game. It's we've talked about their problems away from home. They still, one thing with UCLA and Mick Cronin, going through the numbers, he's been really, really good on neutrals. So,
yeah.
Spent a regular year, we see this horrible play, and they just kind of notched the last 5 or 6 years, even their run, whatever it was, 4 or 5 years ago that they had from a big seat too. I think they were 11 that year, something like that, at 10. But anyways, I'm on the +8 here with UCLA. Yeah. I think they keep it tight enough. I'll dare Purdue to just have which they could, kind of perfect game and just be red hot.
I'm going to sprinkle a little on the dog here as well on the money.
Oh, of course, the money line. Definitely.
Money line action here, because I just don't believe in this Purdue. I know what they did yesterday. I see J-Dub says he thought Nebraska would show up yesterday too. Good for Purdue, but listen, Mick Cronin has been playing the John Tortorella game. You know what the John Tortorella game is?
Torts, yeah.
Calling everybody out. He don't give a shit. He's going to call them out in the media. He's going to tell them they're not men behind the scenes in the locker room. Listen, don't underestimate how pissed off a young 18-year-old can be when it comes to showing this coach that you don't know what the F you're talking about. So I like a little dog in this spot here, but I think 8.5 points is a good number. 7.5, whatever the number happens to look like here. SEC time. And again, speaking of surprise, Vanderbilt, Florida. I had a little Vandy yesterday. I was not surprised. The second half of that game was what surprised me there. They were tied at halftime, I think, and then Vandy came out there and exploded. Florida let me down, though. Florida yesterday, I think they were 11 and a half pointers, dominating the entire game until the second half of the second half, and the backups come in, and they just kind of fell off the wagon here. This is pretty split, truly. About 50-50 cash and bets. 8.5s have moved to 7.5s for Vandy. Florida comes into this one, and, many, myself included, anointed them a number one. Can they repeat in the tournament? Potentially. Right now, they're kicking the snot, and they are playing well on the road. That is the big thing here. Now, a little bit of a back-to-backer there. Coming in there with the bye, the extended bye, but they smashed Kentucky. They did what they had to do. They just couldn't quite cover the spread. That's Kentucky for me in a nutshell, C-Mac. Can't quite figure it out. I'm going to go to a first half. I've struggled with first halves here, but I'm going to take a Florida first half at the 3.5. And then if they're beating Vandy up that good full game, then we'll see here. Am I just not taking Vandy serious enough?
Yeah, I think, God, this game's tough. I mean, I get why everyone wants Florida. They've been rolling for the most part. I know they've been really good early in these games in the first half. They kind of hung around. That's where Kentucky in the second half covered there. They didn't have their best shooting day. Vandy, Miles dropped 30. He's going to need another big game. I remember that was a 4-point game earlier this year between these two. Florida won. I think the line's right. It's tough to go against Florida. I mean, we know the size. Oh, well, they disrupt shots, how good they are rebounding, top team, and how big they are. The guard play's gotten a lot better throughout the year. So this was tough. I'm off. I don't blame you for Florida first half. I'm not going to be on it. I thought about it.
My numbers for first halves have not been good this season, so I will fully admit that. But I do think now maybe I was just a little ahead of the time frame. I guess today will tell, but thought process just again being you got to battle harden some of those backups that are not getting a ton of minutes because you don't want them. They need to get some big spotlight time because if they do go into the big spotlight during March, the actual tournament itself, then they need to be willing to go out there and play the game. Let's move on to the 3:30 spot. Ole Miss, Arkansas, the Pigs.
Real quick, what do you think about that total? Like, I could see it because these offenses, but I think it's freaking high, man. It'd be on the under. Yeah, I know they played to, like we talked about, the 98, 94, and Vandy can score. I think it's high. I'm going to look at it a little bit more. I just think Florida, they do have a defense. Both these teams do at times, so I'm going to look at that under a little more.
I mean, again, the big spreads have been covering. Back-to-back unders have shown that they'll go back to the under again out there. Conference tournament unders make a lot of sense. 83 and 53. Well, you find some of these conference tournaments here. Back-to-back, so no rest. Conference tournament. Total that's over a 152.5. 83 and 53 to the under. It's a 61% win rate for you guys. Early tip-offs, we talk about those games. They do go under as well, 21 and 8. That's a 72.5 win percentage if they have a tight spread over the last two seasons. So,
well, this is another one. It's like both these offenses could get it done. That's why I kind of like it. It's like in these games, I just need one team to kind of be a little bit off first half. Basically you need a 40-37 to get you over here, the 76.5.
They got to make every bucket down the line there to finish.
And they got to be red hot. So I might have a piece of that first half. And they are 75, but there are a couple 76.5 here. First half under there. Vandy, Florida. Okay, let's roll on.
Woo pig suey. In a word. Making a Mac Daddy here. Ole Miss, man. What the heck? I have been fully wrong about Ole Miss in this tournament. I don't know how they turned it on. They went from 8.5s to 9.5s now. The Pigs, the Hogs, whatever you want to call them out there. Double-digit favorites? I don't know about that either. 158.5 moved to 157.5 with all the money coming in on the over. They play this one at the old Bridgestone Arena. So truly neutral ground here. Pretty comparable travel situation for both squads out there. Listen, I like some Arkansas as this game kind of started going here. But I don't know if I'm just underestimating what's going on with this Ole Miss team, man. I mean, look, heater, underdogs on a heater, 86-54. Certainly got to recognize that. The unders back in play again for this thing, kind of being in that, not necessarily the early start, but man, Darius Cuff, is that, I don't even know if that's how you say it, but one of the best point guards in college hoops right now. Ninth in the country in scoring out there with Arkansas, man. How about this kid? Probably going to go out there and end up being a Sixer, and they'll ruin him, but that's a different story. He busted him up. He had 37 points yesterday, man. The hot hand. Does the hot hand stay hot, C-Mac, or does Ole Miss find a way to absorb this double-digit shock absorber they've got out there?
Yeah, some of these this game's even Store's been showing up. Some of these guys that didn't have good years, have been playing well for Ole Miss. It's Ole Miss here. I think they can hang. I think the matchup, this is one of the better ones. I think same thing with Alabama. As fresh as Alabama was and everything, they could get tired. We could go into the whole thing here, neutral floor, fourth game. They could get tired, which can happen. And Arkansas is going to run and gun. This has come down, but, like I talked about yesterday, Ole Miss can score a point in the last 350, which is goddamn insane. That game I thought should have definitely flew over. It stays under by a couple points. I think this could get under. This has come down, though. To me, but Arkansas just plays at a crazy pace. And they're so good offensively. And I don't think they're great defensively. We saw it earlier in the year. The Ole Miss lost to them by what, 5, I think? Remember that game? This is in early January 7th. Yeah, 94-87. That total was only 152. You look back at it. Ole Miss defense wasn't there either. That's why they won these games a little bit. Where Alabama was the worst? It was about the first 10 minutes of the second half, Mike, yesterday. They couldn't make a shot. Alabama. They already had the lead, Ole Miss, and they just built on that and kind of cruised the rest of the way until the very, very end. So, yeah, Ole Miss. I think they hang again. And I lean over. I kind of disagree with the move going down here now.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to get on the Ole Miss side, too. I don't want to oversimplify this thing, but they won yesterday against a shit Oklahoma team by 3 points. And one of the best players in the
Arkansas,
land,
yeah, Arkansas,
one of the best players in the land puts up 40 points out there. So it's almost to me, I know it's not the same situation entirely here, but Bam Adebayo puts up 83 points and they can't cover the spread for the Miami Heat. It kind of felt a little bit like that for me with this game here. So I'm going to take them points with Ole Miss. I don't think it's a wrong team favored situation. I mean, wouldn't entirely surprise me that Ole Miss just came out there and continue underestimating us. We'll show you what we can do, but they've covered 3 spreads in a row. They've been meaty dogs in all 3 of them, and they're winning outright. So that's the right formula for me to be involved with here. My only question is, was this now 4 games in 4 days for these guys? Does that become a deterrent from their ability?
It's always a question. Yeah, with these kids. This doesn't move. We're starting to see some 9s. I mean, we knew Arkansas could win big here. I don't trust them enough defensively. The same thing with Alabama yesterday. When we went over the cat, especially when it moved to 12.5. Like, I was kind of off that until 12.5. We talked about it yesterday on the show. And I'm like, God damn, it's a boatload of points for a team that I just don't think plays great defense. And that's what Arkansas has to do here. Just run and gun, old school, and just outscore you, which could happen. So, should be good. I can't wait for that game.
We move on to the 49ers, the Charlotte 49ers here against USF. South Florida, not San Francisco. San Francisco 49ers not involved in a game that features USF and 49ers, C-Mac. That's probably the biggest surprise for me in this game. Otherwise, look, USF gets the regular season down. They're on a hell of a heater right now. 9 straight wins. Charlotte, probably another one of them big darlings coming in here, surprising everybody as a 500 squad out there. It'll be interesting to see how this one plays out here. Boy, oh boy, they both played back to back, right? They both got 2-2. The Bulls beat the shit out of Charlotte just 6 days ago, less than a week ago. It was 83-60. They flooded them boys out there. Does the rematch revenge seed make any difference to you here? The top seed should probably move forward, but do we see Charlotte hang in this game at 14.5 points? What say you?
I think they can here. They just got their ass drilled here. I think they remember it just fresh too, like you talked about just a week ago. And I think they remember that. For a Charlotte team, one thing, and we don't need to win here. Like they just need to cover, which I think is possible. These are one of these teams that you don't love dogs, but they have enough scores like they do. I could shoot it. Okay, that's what I want in a dog here, Mike. To cover 15. Now that's what I think Charlotte could do. But we're throughout the regular, their defense is a problem, which we've seen. But I think this team can hang with it. I think this number is huge from the blowout. South Florida, of course, the better team rolling. Give me Charlotte here, plus 14.5.
Let me ask you, from a flow perspective, a game pace, do you think this is one of those situations where South Florida just takes like a 15-point lead and Charlotte's chasing them the entire game? Or is there a little bit more of a defense to this thing and Charlotte's doing their best to hang in there and get them second chance opportunities rebounding out there to keep it a, single digit 2 type of score game throughout this process? You think they get flooded early, or you think they're I think they can keep it close
in a game like this, especially early. Most of the time, it's just not always. But like in this, do you want the full game or you want this first half? I mean, you're getting 8.5 like you're talking about. It's like a lot of these teams, you cover that, they still even cover the full game. Not always, you know what I mean? Which happens. And the best thing about this is in all these games we get to, which a few of them I'm going to touch on, just bet it live. We're all watching basketball the other day. There's not 150 games. So, kind of look at the cap if you think a team's going to be up and look the other way. I think I'll be doing a lot of that today. But, I like Charlotte here. I don't mind the first half. It's just, do I split it then? I kind of get into that mode. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which if I take it, I just kind of like the first half. But I got to think they play better. And that first, I want to see, just double check what they shot. Ugly at 40%, 20% from 27% from 3, only 6 of 10 from the free throw line. Didn't have any free throws. Some of these games too, I got to get to. Holy, one team. It seems like sometimes it's both teams. The free throws, the whistle, these fucking refs. It's like, come on, buddy. Every tap, these teams, some of these games, you're going to the line. I'm like,
I took like four straight losses with a bullshit 1 second foul. I'm like, what are we doing?
Oh, I had that a couple of days, a few of those. Why are you fouling? Like, if there's still 3-point game, that's like, fuck, all right, they're fouling. But when they're up 7, or it's 8, there's 1 second left. You can't win. Just dribble out the fucking ball. That was the weird thing yesterday. Georgetown was losing by 16. They dribbled out the ball with the whole 30 seconds left. Yeah, did you see that? Because I'm like, then you have one of those where it's like, God damn. So.
Well, the last thought on this one here was I was looking at some unders. The reason I was asking you about that here, because South Florida does take it when they're in the favorite role. They are 46-17 to the under in this situation. So I was kind of wondering, is that a situation where Charlotte's chasing them down the entire game because they're just out there drilling every shot? And it sounds like maybe the under could be in play here with a tight little spot for Charlotte to make some baskets along the way. Let's go on and talk a little bit about the Tulsa Wichita State game. And going to Wichita. Man, they open up at 2 dog. They're a 1.5 fave. 58% of the bets, 58% of the cash. The total sitting at 150.5. CMAC Tulsa 26-6. But the Shockers have been shocking coming into this thing. No pun intended, I guess. But, from a team perspective here, they took down my Florida Atlantic Owls. I was expecting Florida Atlantic to show up a little bit more competitive out there, but they got thumped by a 20-pack. Outside of that, though, I don't care that they beat Temple. I don't care that they beat Memphis. I don't care that they beat UTSA, as Wichita just kind of Is the glass is the what do they say? Is the glass slipper going to fit the shoe here for Cinderella, or does the carriage become a pumpkin here against a Tulsa team that's equally thumping everybody else?
Yeah, yesterday was a double where I had North Texas, and then I took Tulsa live when they were down. So always like, then I gave them 3 overtimes. That's what they're thinking here. I think they're tired. I'm a little shocked this is flipped to Wichita. You know, I 3 overtimes, blah, 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 blah. They're that fucking tired? Come on. I don't think so. Like, I think it's, yeah, go ahead.
I was sitting on some North Texas 8.5s, and I was like,
I had 7.5. I didn't even get, you know, and I wait. You know, for me, I took it early.
Yeah, I pre-flopped it, and then I had it tied into a parlay on top of it, so I hit it like twice, and then I'm sitting there with this parlay, and I'm like, are these guys going to go? And then 3 overtimes. I'm like, really? I mean, come on. Just out of the sheer nature of this thing, are the legs that tired, though? Is the public dramatically overreacting here and seeing? I mean, they came back in that 3rd overtime. They looked pretty fucking good. They almost covered the spread.
Finally. Yeah, and after a horrible first half, you know, I like Tulsa here. I've been shocked by how well they play. There you go. By the Shockers.
What are you going to say?
How well they played. Yeah. I mean, not that they're a bad team, but I don't know. I think the better offensive team here is Tulsa. Better team from the line, from deep, even inside, from all the stats. You know, their field goal percentage is good. They shoot almost 39% from 3. They chuck it. They get to the line. I'm going to see if this goes more. I'm going to be on Tulsa. And this is another one, or I'm going to wait. Wichita gets up here, Mikey, I'll be all over Tulsa. I was kind of just maybe I don't make a bet in this one if I do split it. See if they can get up. I'm going to hit Tulsa here because at least I think this game's tight, as it was earlier. During the year when they play.
Appreciate everybody that's joined us. You guys, make sure you smash the thumbs up button. We're live on 2 channels here, Hitting the Books and the Sports Money Network. So like and subscribe to both channels if you haven't done so already. I know we got a lot of common community out there, but we each have some of our own. So let's make sure that we support each other out there. But C-Mac, talk to us just for a touch on this for a second, because I'm with you. You've talked about it a couple of times. What's your thought process? When do you decide to split a little on both sides? Can you take us through that for a minute?
Well, yeah, I already we go through the handicap again, and it's a little bit of the flow of the game. If the team's just not making a shot, I'll wait and wait and wait. But it's usually, unless it's right away, I usually will wait, especially after the first 10 minutes. So Wichita even kind of gets up, and that can backfire a little bit. But usually it's that time right before half. And even halftime betting, I think. You know what I mean? Right there, or at the start of the second half to see if there'll be a run. That's why sometimes the bet at halftime is a little bit better. So there's no perfect way to live bet. There is gambling anyway. There isn't regularly, but that's some of the stuff that I look for, already on the cap that we've gone through, this team going to come out early, this team not, because we see it in these tournaments on neutrals. Some teams are just asleep. Like Tulsa was, just couldn't make a shot. North Texas was scoring, and it took them to get into half and probably get an ass chewing to get going.
Well, we will get going and keep this pace moving. We'll pick it up a little bit for you guys here. 6 p.m. Houston, it's going to be huge. Takes on Arizona. And I'll tell you what, Sharp Perspective Betting Report yesterday came through, and they were taking that Iowa State squad. I wanted to get in on Iowa State, and I ended up with Arizona. Now, I also had Arizona in a parlay that did not cash because of their debauchery. So I made the fatal flaw of having a straight bet and tied to a parlay with Arizona there. So shout out to Iowa State for coming back. Probably gets them in the tournament, I would say, right? One of the hotter public teams here. Maybe not a first 4 type of thing, but I bet you we see them go dancing here. But Iowa State.
Oh, they're in, man.
Yeah.
What the fuck are you on? Drugs?
Yeah. We're looking at Houston, though. Houston, as expected, beat them boys up yesterday. They're now sitting at 2.5-point dogs. There has been some move to 1.5. I say as expected because I was at Houston. I just thought simple breakdown for me with that game was their defense is just better. and they showed it. I mean, they held Kansas to 47 points. And it just looked like Kansas was getting frustrated. They were getting worn down. Things weren't falling in. They weren't getting their second chance opportunities. Houston's kind of come back to the under squad they are. And on the other side of things here, boy, Arizona, they come out there and look, they stomped on UCF, who had some impressive victories to get to that game. They took care of Iowa State, but not quite to the degree. Is this a situation where they step up in class and the books don't know what kind of number to put on these guys? In other words, is Houston a live dog?
Yeah, I mean, book they're showing it here. It opens 3.5. We even got 1.5 now in this game, even with some Arizona love in it. You know what I think? This has moved up. In the first game, it was 73-66. Arizona won that game there. So we're hitting the total right there. Is the under. I'd only be on the under. I mean, with these two teams, like at this number. Now, are they talented enough both offensively? Yes. This to get over for sure. But that's what I was looking at. I'm going to stay off. I think we got a coin flip. It's moving to Houston. It seems like Houston's going to win this. Maybe ready to fade them in the tournament. We're going to get to a couple more teams like that. Good for them. They could win this game, even though I don't know if they will here. But then I'm going to want to fade them.
This is one of those Houston wins, maybe gets that number 1 seed. I was debating who's going to get that 4th number 1 seed out there, but I like Houston. I'm going to go with you on the under in this game. And, maybe this is just a soft cap, I guess, when it comes down to it. But, I have that UCF game pretty sharp tack to the under. And it went way under the number. The Iowa State game looked like it should have gone the same way from a trend perspective, and it didn't. So I almost
scoring early, threes a lot late. Monvolish, that dude had like 3 threes in the last 30 seconds. I mean, there was points. Yeah.
And I mean, it was going over either way with 162, but Houston, I think their pace dictates. I think if they're alive, they've got to keep this thing tighter scoring. So I like Houston. I'm going to play on Houston. I'm also going to play on the under in this game as a little double dipper.
Mm-hmm.
Big spot for you, C-Max. San Diego State, Utah State. I feel like these are your squads here. If we slapped into North Texas and it was a 3-way battle royale, we'd be having some fun here. But Utah State's been stomping teams throughout the season. They've had some difficulty. San Diego State's had some difficulty as well. But these boys kicked it into tournament mode here. So the big dance awaits one of these squads. I like both these teams, man. This was a tough one for me. I don't want the spread. I just want to see an outright winner. This is a tough one, man. What are you thinking about this game? How are you going to get paid?
I think this is a game I got to bet live. I was on San Diego State when they just beat them. After they had lost 3 straight, they came back home. One thing, this is the other one of the teams I wanted to bring up. If Utah State wins this, I'm going to fade the shit out of them in the tournament on a neutral. I don't think they're very good at all. What they've done the last 2 games against teams which I thought Nevada didn't shoot the ball well, I was on Nevada. I had them because I don't think, and the coach even said, like, wow, we showed toughness. That we have been showing that. Because that's what I saw on the road or on a neutral kind of all year. Maybe not the neutral games they had to start the year, but they didn't have the hardest schedule, Utah State. But they were tough. Like, they got it done. Even against UNLV, he's like, we brought it, our defense. And, I just don't think they're that tough. Even with the shooters that they have, they could easily win this with this line. I think San Diego State, though, is tough. This is a great game. And this is live bet all over it for me in this one.
We should see live betting on both sides of this one for sure. Because you look at it and it's like we know that defense wins championships, the old cliche, right? San Diego State's a defensive-oriented team. Then you look at the Utah State side of things, though, and they got some dudes, man. They got some guys that can get Collins. What's his name? Falslev, I think. False.
Yep.
I mean, that dude's for real.
I'll say. Yeah.
And they're both averaging. I mean, they're both getting up near 20 points a game. So if you got 2 dudes out there, knocking everything down and getting hot at the right time, then Utah State can separate from San Diego State. But I'm with you. If they make it to the dance here, they're an early out candidate for sure.
Yeah,
and
I think so.
Give them the interior edge, but I think Utah State probably wins this game. If I had the proverbial free play, I'd pre-flop it on Utah State, but I'm going to lean to that Utah State direction. And I know we'll be live for the UFC, so Ramon Scott will be talking to me and giving me every bucket of the way from San Diego.
Yeah, San Diego State just tough though. They've been great in this conference in the tourneys too. Just over the years, they own it here. They love Vegas.
Love this Yukon and St. John's game, man. This is the game we deserve. It's the game we wanted to see out of this conference here. And woo, man, these guys have had what a story. So they played. I mean, ultimately, St. John's, when they're playing in the Garden, technically isn't neutral, but they both played head-to-head battles in arenas, right? Because when they had St. John's beats the snot out of Yukon in Madison Square Garden. And some people were like, oh, well, Yukon's used to playing in Madison Square Garden. Yeah, but that was like a Friday night. And that was St. Johnny's territory. Then they go out there, they play the rematch in Connecticut, but they play in Hartford, in an arena in Hartford. So they both have arena experience out there. I kind of thought that was a smart move because you've got two teams that are, ultimately they have expectation to be productive and, taking them outside of their tiny home gyms and putting them on the big bright lights out there. A lot of fun. But to me, I looked at St. John's squad here. I know Yukon's got the story, and the public's going to look at Yukon and be like, "Oh, it's Yukon, man." They've gone from 2.5 to 3.5 CMAC. It's 54% of the bets, 54% of the cash here coming in. We're seeing the totals kind of hovering around that 139-ish tag. This is probably, for a Big East champion, this is intriguing, right? This is the Big East battle that we want to see here. I want to get in on St. John's here. I think this is a dog or pass situation out there. What do you think about this one?
I mean, they got to remember that. I mean, come on. That was fucking horrible. Couldn't make a shot.
Dude, they got dumped. They went like 15 minutes without scoring a bucket.
I know. I had the under. That was like the best under. You have an under like that. It doesn't get much better than it at all. You know what I think? Is I like it already. You talk about the move a little bit. And Yukon, they shot it well in that game as well. Is the under. But I think if you take St. John's, it's got to be early here, right? Let's think in the first half. You get plus 1.5. I mean, you could go to the money line. But, in these games, like you could have a tie down by 1. Sometimes they want that, especially in the first half. I think that's where you want them here. St. John's early. And I like it here. Plus 1.5. Should be a good game. I like the total. I like the under as well. If I were to get here. What do you think? This is your shit. You talk about it. I don't know why you're throwing it to me. I'll be right back. Fuck.
Yeah, I like the Johnnies in this one. I mean, look at reality is, and this goes back 14 years. So take the late season winning dogs. It's important when we look at some of these trends, we'll see Max refreshing that, we look at not just what they've done in their, I like to look and zoom in and look at their last couple of games, but historically across basketball in general, history, some people will be like, well, 13 years ago, some of these, I get it, simps. But reality is history repeats itself. And so that's why these things have been so successful. And fading the late season winning dog has produced 81 and 35 in the results category. That's almost a 70% win. It does say Yukon. I just think there's a little something special on the St. John's team. So when it comes down to C-Mac's point there about, the total, yeah, I think the bigger gym, the arena, the state, they're playing at the Garden. So this opens things up a little bit. It makes it a little more cavernous, the sight lines being different. I know they've already played there, and I just think this gives St. John's the edge. So I like the under, but I'm on St. John's to get the job done as we move into the MAC. We got some action kicking off here. Probably big surprise of the tape for me. Miami O gets knocked out in the first round to UMass, who's straight ass. That was one of them spots that I was a head scratcher. It was a thinker, and I did not think that would happen. Not that early. So the way I scripted it out, as I'm sure most people did, is they'll be playing Akron will be playing Miami, Ohio in the MAC championship. Akron wins and goes on to play, and it's a disappointment. Does a one-loss Miami, Ohio team get knocked out of the tournament? That's not the game we have, C-Mac. We have Toledo and Akron. Toledo, 7.5-point dogs here. Probably looked at Akron being the favorite or the dog in this game had they been playing Miami, and it would have been an Akron slam dunk knockdown dragout spot. But we're seeing now 39% of the bets and 39% of the bets, 55% of the cash on Akron. It's gone from 7.5 to 8.5 here. Do the Toledo Rockets stand a chance? This is chaos, in my opinion here. This should have been Miami O versus Akron. What's it going to take for me to get you on a little Toledo dog action here? Do you think this is a chance that they can punch their first ticket to the dance since 1980? A lot of the line, C-Mac. What do you think?
No, I'm not kidding. I think they could cover here. Toledo. I love how they've been playing a little bit. And you know why it's been better? It's somewhat is on the defensive end.
Yep.
Somewhat. I mean, I'm not like raving. They're fucking unbelievable here. But I mean, I think they kind of have to do that again. Akron, same thing. We've had a bunch of 3 straight unders, 4 straight unders, really, even before the tournament. So do we get back to the pace? Because I could see this. Like their earlier meetings, there's a lot of points. The team just up and down. They could definitely do that and score. So I don't know if I'm really loving on under to bet it. But yeah, I think Toledo could hang here. There's no bet for me in this game.
So I think Toledo can cover. I think this is too many points. But, you talked about kind of the style of these teams, if you will, to some degree. And the turnover battle, this is where I can get down with the under. And I know that the last game, was an over. Yeah. It's come down 5 points now. So it makes me a little bit, I mean, I would have much rather had the overnight line for sure, but we're not in that. I wish I could go back to yesterday and see tomorrow's results, but that's not the case. So
tell me about it.
Look, turnover. Toledo leads the MAC in offensive turnover rates, and Akron leads the MAC in defensive turnover rates. So when it comes down to it, to me, it's like, hey, this is not a situation where you're going to get a lot of fast break points. Toledo rebounds like shit. And Akron is better at the rebounding game. So they're going to have to be hot with their points out there. But I kind of thought this has a chance to look at the under, just simply because you're not going to see a lot of fast break points. You're not going to see a lot of quick scores out there where they strip the ball and all of a sudden they just went on a 6-point run and it's only had 10 seconds tick off the clock. So that's kind of the way I looked at the under in this game. And it's not pretty. It's come down 5 points, as I mentioned, but the other problem is Akron leads the MAC in 3-point attempt rates. So
that's like the only, I get the under, but I'm not going to play it because these teams could just get hot and they can get up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But hey, championship games, you know how I feel about them.
Anything can happen. And Virginia and Duke is a battle and a half. Mm-hmm. Interesting to see. We see Arizona plays Houston. Probably not too unexpected for what should be the big results out there. Now we see Virginia playing Duke. Probably not too unexpected out there. This is an under or pass for me. Duke's been an under team for me. I talked about it time and again. Virginia, I know they're not at home, but their defensive style and basketball, to me, I like the under with these boys here. 8.5s have moved to 6.5s. So there's some money coming in on the doggy here, Virginia Cavs. Meanwhile, the total's gone up 5 points. Here's the opposite of that previous game. I'll lose my 5 points in the other game, but I'll add them into this game here for Duke at an under 140.5 C-Mac. Dukies. Man, these boys have been the talk of college basketball. They took down Michigan. They haven't looked back since they were able to go out there and stomp those fools. And, listen, Michigan's kind of playing with their food right now. Beat the shit out of Clemson, covered. That Florida State win was impressive. They had to grind. And this is where I think this makes a team like Duke dangerous. You just took down UNC to finish off your season. You got your scare. You got shook a little bit. Your foundation. You were big dicking everybody as, hey, we're going to go out there and win the ACC. We're going to be the number 1 seed in the college basketball March Madness. We're big dicks. And then Florida State came in and kind of pawed them a little bit. They gave them the old cat slap to the side of the face and said, wait a minute, boys, 80-79, you're 17-point favorites, and you barely won. You're lucky to win. Meanwhile, they got it right. They toasted the Clemson squad. Virginia took down Miami. A lot of people liked Miami. Miami a little overrated in that spot there, and they got busted up by 22 points. So looking at this game here at 6.5, the number kind of feels right to me, C-Mac, but I'm going to go back to my unders with Duke. What do you think about this game?
Yeah, there's just a few things, I think in this matchup. I no Foster, and then the big ones, Nagong, but I just defensively, it's under to me too. I think that's the reason why Florida State, even though they had some success scoring earlier in the year in their matchup, and they took care of business, but we've seen this with Clemson against teams that don't play great defense, not shoot it well, on the road or on neutral. Boozer, boys, brothers had another big game, but they're just role player and Foster and Nagong, but they're going to need him. Like, they're going to need him to go all the way if they want to. So, because it's the under for me too. Their team total under. With them out, I'm going to stay off. I don't blame you though. Virginia been going over.
Yeah. Of
late, but championship game, like I talked about, with him out, I'm going to stay out. Even though Duke still has a pretty good defense here. We saw it yesterday, right back to holding the team down the under. But this is just a wait. I'm going to watch this. Maybe bet live.
It's funny when we get to some of these games in the tournament where you see a Kennesaw State La Tech 8:30 p.m. start, and
crazy game.
Man, I made money on both these teams riding into this point, so I'm in that perplexed situation where it's like, holy cow, 2.5 points. Number feels right. 61% of the bets, 53% of the cash have come in on La Tech. The line is moving against them. It went from +1.5 to 2.5. In this little ping pong range, sometimes we zoom in on the money line, right? When I talk about the ping pong, like if it's a 1 or 2 point spread, natural public tendency is to say, screw the points. I'll just take the money line. So that kind of gives us a better picture sometimes here. We see 60% of the bets and 81% of the cash have come in on Kennesaw State money line. It has moved to -135. So the books are concerned that Kennesaw State can smack these boys in the mouth here. It is a La Tech team that finished the season dead heat, 20-13 between these two squads out there. Man, who would have thought La Tech was here? Defense. Conference USA defensive organization here today. I think I had the under yesterday in that Kennesaw game. I think the world was on Kennesaw. And they gave everybody a scare early. They scared everybody, C-Mac. What do you think?
Who did they scared and won? What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, but weren't they down early?
Yeah, maybe a little bit early, yeah. But they took care of business.
They handled business.
Yeah, they handled business. I know, I like both these teams. If you like Kennesaw, they're going to score. This is a pace game here. Super fast, one of the top 20 teams in pace there. And slow, La Tech, 319. Wants to keep it slow. And we saw two games this year. The La Tech win, right? 82-76 in January. And then February 21st, Kennesaw at home, 58-55. I got to lean to the other way. Dare these teams to make shots. Yeah, who's going to dictate it here? And I think you like La Tech, you like the under. They're just a team that shoots 30% from three. It could be real ugly for them, even though they've been better offensively. But I do like their defense. I like the under here. And I lean La Tech. I've been both these squads. You talked about me too. I'd like them both. And I don't really want Kennesaw now that they're a favorite. Like, you know what I mean? I don't even want to lay 2.5 with them. So I should under here and look live. And right off the bat, lean La Tech.
I'm with you with that. I think the under is probably one of my favorite plays on the entire card today.
Yeah, I like it.
Let's go on and talk a little Hawaii. Cal Irvine, 10 p.m. The Warriors dropped the rainbow and have been firing here. 61% of the bets, 70% of the cash are on UC Irvine. Total's gone from 138.5 to 141.5. So 3 points of movement. I am surprised at the Warriors season here. Maybe I'm just old school in the thinking process where it's like, on the island, I guess it's just old school thinking. On the island, you bet Hawaii, and when they're off the island, you don't. But that obviously isn't holding true here. Problem I have is I think that for the Big West, surprise, it would be great to see Hawaii find a way to come out here. But The problem is UC Irvine's defense gets hands in your fucking face, and they block, they steal. They're holding opponents to a sub 40% shooting on the 2, which is the best of all college basketball. Now, you can only play who's in your conference, but at the same time, it's still impressive. Offensively, not the greatest team in UC Irvine. So I guess the question is, does the 21st nationally ranked defensive efficiency of UC Irvine frustrate, erode the confidence of this Hawaii team and create a gap by the second half of this game here? It feels to me like I want to be involved in Hawaii in the first half. How are you going to attack this game, C-Mac?
Yeah, I don't know if I do here. I like Irvine in this matchup. I laid the 2.5 with them. I've been surprised how well Hawaii's played, and they could definitely win this game here. Irvine's been a little bit, traditionally, obviously, in this conference, this team is really, really good, and they've gotten red hot at the right time. You talked about it. It's the kind of their defense. Even Hawaii's team total's moved up a little bit. I mean, I get it. It might have been a little bit too low. It's moved up 4 points, 5 points. Even Hawaii's team total under 70.5, I think, is a decent look here in this game. So it's a wait for me, though. I'm leaning UC Irvine. I think they can get the job done. Yeah.
One of the things that gets me going about a team like Hawaii, first of all, is we talked about yesterday the meaningless bullshit fouls at the end there that screw the numbers up. Well, Hawaii, 43% free throw team, 73% success rate. So I like that. And they got some big dudes. For me, the recipe in basketball are big dudes, man. They got every one of their starters is 6'6" or taller, and they got a 7-footer in there. So
they shot it horrible and go 25 or 26 from the line. It was a little bit Utah State. That's why I said it. Nothing against them. They got out in front, especially the first few minutes of the second half against Nevada. But they went to the free throw line 30 times. Nevada's 10. And made like 26. That was kind of like that Hawaii game with Fullerton. So it's like they're not going to go. Look, I guarantee you one thing: they're not going to go 25-26 from the line. Guarantee. Let's put money on it. No fucking way, right? Shit.
I mean, you start seeing that kind of shit go down, and it's like, what? Really?
I know.
But that's what screws the numbers up. That's a team that gets, so be it. So that's the way they go. Let's go here. Dimitri says, do you think Utah Valley is going to cover tonight? We've got a couple games left here that I see. Did I skip a couple around the process here? It looks like
Utah Valley. Let's get to that.
Cal Baptist, Utah Valley. Here we go. Ask, and we shall deliver. -1.5 have moved to 3.5. So you got a pretty good size of movement, man. This is the late night special, huh? 12 a.m. I will probably be long asleep. 66% of the bets, 76% of the only because it's a 14-fight UFC card, so I'm expecting 3 women's fights.
Oh yeah, you're out cold. Shit.
Team has gone from it's sitting at 138.5, right? 70% of the bets, 73% of the cash. I wish I had something from a trend or angle perspective on this one here. I know this. I know that yesterday I bet on Utah Valley. I did not cover there. As a matter of fact, Utah Valley, of all the teams left in the brackets here, these guys suck at covering the spread. Have not covered in over a month. On the flip side, Cal Baptist covers everything you throw at them. So I know it's got to be a little bit more involved than that, but the WAC championship here, Cal Baptist, Utah Valley. Look, Utah Valley, they got some good boys out there, some offensive. The Holcomb Davis combo gives them a little bit of an edge. I think they're tough boys to square up and match up against here. But can Utah Valley finally cover a spread? C-Mac, what do you think? No Hendricks.
They could, but I don't think so. I like Cal Baptist in this game. This total's gotten hit down too here, about 4 points. All the money here on Utah Valley, I mean, it's bobbling up. There's 3, there's 3.5, there's a couple 2.5s at a few spots. BetMGM. I think the 3.5, I already like Cal Baptist. One thing, Utah Valley is good. I like how Cal Baptist has been, though. Utah Valley can rebound. Cal Baptist has been better on the boards. One thing, this is one of the last teams that's left in these conference games, Utah Valley, that turn the ball over at a crazy rate. Right, they're like 3-something. You're only finding horrible teams here down here at the bottom, and they turn over almost 15 times a game on average. I've watched more of that, even though as talented as they are, and they lay a lot of big numbers. I think this is a dogfight, and they played around yesterday, had the lead like you talked about. They were winning there, but they let them back in that game, and didn't cover, so laying a big number. But I think Cal Baptist at this price plus 3.5, I will be on it. At least it's down the wire, I think. Utah Valley's very good too, that's why they're favored here.
You know what concerns me about Utah Valley? One thing. One thing. Besides their, ineptness at covering spreads. And I think I think it correlates. They suck at fucking free throws. This might be
another team, yeah.
They ranked 310. How many basketball teams are there in college? 350?
That's what I mean. Turnovers, the free throws, it's like they're talented with those numbers. I don't want that team.
And so if this is ticky-tacky at the end, this is one of those spots where you see why, and this is what's brutal about this being a 12 a.m. Eastern start, is because you see these guys, they'll have a 2-point lead, and we'll be following for the last 4 minutes of the game, because if you're on the other side of things with Cal Baptist, why wouldn't you want to push them into that awkward uncomfortableness of being a shitty free throw team? So
yeah,
expect that one to go extra time if you're watching that one with your friends. You'll have plenty to talk about there.
Cal Baptist.
We got 2 spots left here in NC Central and Howard, C-Mac. I know you're a big Howard fan. I'm just guessing, but, What are you doing?
I have nothing in this game. Howard's the team here in this conference. Did you have anything here?
No.
It's big.
No, I
just
sure we touched on it. It's a lot of points. It's come down 3. That's probably the biggest note that I would say, is it's gone from 14.5 to 11.5. The totals come down as well. Howard should do the job. They should go out there and handle these boys. Easy to say the under again here because of the situation with these teams. It's not surprising that the teams that run under throughout the season are teams that are showing up here in these conference championships, because C-Mac unders win championships. But they're the top seed for a reason. So I think they go out there. I think they smack them in the mouth here. NC Central, I've seen them just throw some fucking duds out there. So if you want to bring this thing down, to your point about the cash flow split, I think that was a great comment you made earlier, is just talking about how the public doesn't really move the needle for us in college basketball. It's almost like, all right, if anything, I want to get involved after you've moved the line on me. So that's how I feel with this game.
Yeah, that's how I feel. All right, let's hit the last one. I'll give it here. I've been on this team. Both these teams have played well down the stretch. And Southern, I think, could win this. But I think Prairie View could be on. This team's played well down the stretch. In a game like this, it could be tight. We have a big total. I think this has come down a little bit as well. It's all the way down to 147, 146.5. These two teams could get into scoring match, but I don't know if it happens today. That's why I think this under is taken a bunch, and I don't mind it. But I think Prairie View, even with Southern, they've won their last 4. Prairie View's won their 6, 8 of 10 down the stretch. I think they can hang here. One team that gets to the line, Prairie View.
Yeah.
They make 20 almost. 26. They got some players that get to the rack, get ticky-tack fouls. It could be there. They've shot it better. And even down this stretch here, their defense has been a little bit better. What do we get? It's just tough with these two teams like this sometimes. But I think the value is with them, plus 3.5. Just pure value on two teams that I think is a pick 'em game here.
I agree. I agree. And, like I said, that to me, especially this point of the season, the free throws are a differentiator. Look, they played 89-85, 87-82. So,
high scoring. Yeah.
Prairie View's been up in those games and in a lot of games. So I like Prairie View. I think Prairie View's a live dog here. I know it's not like we're putting our necks on the line by calling we gave you some 8.5-point dogs that might bark here today, but I like some Prairie View. I think SWAC, bring them on in. Maybe they get through a couple early rounds of the tournament. Probably not, but their defense, they've been holding teams to sub 70. You're making free throws. You're holding teams to 70 or less. It's a good formula this time of year to be involved.
They did at the end of that Bethune-Cookman, and I'd been taking Bethune-Cookman for 2 weeks down there at the end of the they've been covering numbers. I've been laying points with them. Whether it's 4, 6, And I thought it was a bad match. But down the stretch, I don't think Bethune-Cookman made a shot the last 5 minutes. Like, just made their free throws. We talked about 1 by 4 outright. So I'll take him here. Hopefully this game is tight. Plus 3.5.
That is betting the board, C-Mac. Good job,
Get out of here.
friend. That is every single game on the card for your Saturday betting enthusiasm, minus the 11 a.m.ers, because that's when we started. So make sure you guys do show some love. We are live on 2 channels. We are live on Hitting the Books. You can go out there, like and subscribe to the channel, turn the notifications on, so when the fellas go live, you get their breakdowns and insight and analysis on best bets. Of course, Sports Money Network. You can follow me and the squad here at the Sports Money Network. And, of course, turn your notifications on so you don't miss the action when we go live. But Mick and Mac, Daddy, great job. Put the bow on it. Tell them where they can find you. Tell them what's cooking in the world of Connor Mac picks. Connor Mac bets, as it turns out.
Yeah, well, for now, go to Connor Mac Bets on Twitter. Go to Twitter and Instagram. Retweet the show for us or give it a like at least. Went through the whole board here. Pumped for these fucking games.
Yeah.
That is it. Just check me out, Connor Mac. Check me out on Odd Shopper as well if you want all my bets. That is it. Let's get out of here, Mikey. Let's rip it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Appreciate everybody. You guys will see me over here this evening for the UFC betting show. As a matter of fact, just a short 4 and some change away, 4 hours and some change. So get your bets in. You can follow me at Mikey Money on Winnable and get my best bet action out there. Got a new thing going, C-Mac. I got a single play of the day. It's
For
just
what?
$3. $3. One play of the day. It's my best bet of the card. We cashed it last night. It was an easy over for the Minnesota Timberwolves. So some of you guys that just want one shot, one kill, I got you set up. But that's not the way to go. Go long-term. Get my guy, Mickey Mac Daddy over at his program. You can follow me as well. And
real quick, shout out to Nicholas Handy, Drew, everyone here, Jeff. Shout out to all the members in the green. I will post some bets up for the members. Thomas, Dimitri, GNL, dude, great to fucking see you. My guy up in here. Andrew, Big Crypto. Appreciate it. Hit the like button on the way out. Let's get to the goddamn games, baby. Come on.
have a great Saturday, everybody. We'll